Welcome back, students, to Redstone University. Today we're going to talk about a subject that you've probably been waiting for a while, and it's flying machines. Slime and honey block flying machines. So, let's get started. Before we look at flying machines, we gotta discuss what is a flying machine. And in short, a flying machine is a self-propelled contraption that can, like I said, move itself over a certain distance. Now, here is an example of one of the simplest and most compact flying machines out there. So, what it does is, first we will update this observer, which then, when it activates, it'll bud power this piston, which is the same as quasi connectivity. There's another name for it, which then will update this observer, and since observers have a 1-tick pulse, it'll spit the block out. And then this will activate this piston here, and then that will retract. The first half will then be retracted, which then updates that again, and then it will repeat on and on forever, until it either crashes into something or it's stopped by, say, the player. So first, let's look at the original flying machine. So, when they added slime blocks, this sort of enabled us to create flying machines. And this was before observers, so we had to use redstone blocks. And when you put a redstone block above a slime block next to a piston, this can cause quasi-connectivity weirdness. And what this does is when I update this piston, it will quickly push this out of its push all this module here, then this will push this back here, and then push the piston with it as it retracts, because it's not a 1-tick pulse, it's like a 2-tick pulse. So there we go. So this is how it works. Now many of you know this because you've actually used it before, but some of you have actually never seen this before. Some of you are more used to these. For example, this one. This one is one of the most compact designs out there, and it only works on Java because it uses quasi-connectivity, and the pistons work on Java, unlike Bedrock. But we do have an alternative for Bedrock, which we'll take a look at in a minute. So in order to activate this, you gotta activate observer right here. And if you activate the other one, it will go the other way, because this flying machine can go 2 ways. So, pretty simple. Now, what if you want to go vertical? So you have this module here, which works for both honey and slime blocks. Same with that works with honey as well. And what you can do is you can stack these with the introduction of new honey blocks. So this is what the door in the Redstone University is made of. A bunch of these guys. Now, they're not only made of that, because if we're going to push more than 12 blocks, which a lot of times you do with flying machines, you can build little modules like this that extend. They're called splitters, because they basically split the machine up into different sections. So, let me demonstrate. If we activate that, they're all being updated. So when that gets pushed, it updates this piston, which pushes the next thing. And then you can move lots of blocks, more than 12, with these splitters. And then it'll crash like that, as you can tell. Now, you Bedrock players don't have as many tutorials as the Java players. Not sure why, but regardless, here is the answer to a 2-way flying machine on Bedrock Edition. So all it is it's 2 modules, and since sticky pistons are both pistons are kind of weird on Bedrock, they're not consistent, which is why you can't build the normal one. So you have to have it so you have to have it different. One side's got to be pulling it in, and the other side has to be pushing it. And because glazed terracotta can only be pushed, there's a solution. So when you activate this, this will push this in because it's slime blocks, and this has to push it forward because it's a glazed terracotta. because in Bedrock Edition, pistons can actually not spit out the blocks. Now you can have little modules like this, as you saw, that can turn the flying machine around, like this one. Now this is more complicated than the Java Edition, because all you have to do is update the other observer. This one's a little more tricky. Now for Java Edition, it's as simple as that. You just have to update this observer, and then this will fly all over here, and then this will update the other observer. These are what are known as flying machine stations, because they're like stations that control flight and stuff. So here, for Bedrock players, take a picture of this, because it is very useful. Because I know I played Bedrock, and when I found this, whew, made my life so much easier. So we're going to take a quick trip from the school to a world that actually you've seen before. So, reason being is I don't want to harm the school in any way, because this could. So, what we have here is basically an impact missile. Now, you can use it for other things other than a missile. Not exactly sure what, but it's out there. But you can use it for a missile. Especially when you're doing like capture the flag and stuff. You could put this on your base and then send it when you want to. So, what it does is, you know how when you have like a chain of flying machines, and when they crash they all compact into one big like blob? Well, we take that and we add this stick here, and when it does compact, this will reach the TNT and activate it, which will make the whole thing go boom. So allow me to demonstrate. So as you can tell, it's completely harmless until it hits land. Then once it does, all this crashes together, activates one piece of TNT, blowing up everything, as you can tell. Now for, say, Bedrock Edition, if you build yourself your own little machine like this, you can actually stick dispensers on the edge and create an observer clock that just outputs a ton of TNT at once. I've actually done it before, and let me tell you, it's extremely destructive. That's one plus for Bedrock, is that you can move dispensers and stuff like that. Containers. So now we're back at school, and let's take a peek underneath all this. So, if I can find, yeah, here we go. Here is the door. Now, it may look somewhat complicated, but trust me, it's not that complicated. It's just a lot of redstone, and all it's doing is activating this flying machine. So when it activates this, it has these pistons on top that basically, like a splitter, as you recall, they push all of these blocks upward. Because if they were not here, I could not push all these blocks upward, because this would already be reaching its 12 block limit, because this is 8 blocks right here, and 4 blocks, that's not a very impressive door now, is it? So I had to add all this, and basically what it does is when I update this observer here, it will activate this line, updating all these pistons, so it spits their blocks up, and then it activates the flying machine, because the flying machine is not going to activate with all this on it, because these have to push this up in order to get it going. And once it starts going, this will continue to push it upward until it reaches the ceiling, which then it'll reach the maximum limit, because this right here is 12 blocks. So that's kind of handy. And then when it goes down, all I have to do is activate this right here with these guys here. Actually, I can show you. I'm going to activate it. And then when I activate it again, these pistons will update these observers, which then will push this guy down. And at the same time, right before it does that, these will pick up the wall, the door right here. So, until, and that took it down, and then as it goes down, this updates and pushes it down, or pulls it down. So, that is how I made the door. It was honestly not extremely hard. The only problem is, with flying machines, if you make one mistake, the entire thing breaks, and it's just a real pain. So, if you're doing stuff with flying machines, create backups, because that can help you. Now that you know a lot more about flying machines, I want you to go into a world, could be a new one, could be an old one, doesn't matter, and just build a bunch of flying machines. You can build a bunch of compact ones, you can build fancy ones, it doesn't matter. Just build ones. Like this one here. I built ourselves a plane. So, what we have here is we have a tail. Nice little tail right there. We have the wings, and then we have a cockpit. Now, with flying machines, you can't just ride on them. I mean, you can, but you run the risk of lag. And lag can make you glitch through, and it just doesn't work. Now, Minecraft treats boats and minecarts a little bit differently. And you can just ride in one, and you won't have to worry about that. So, let's activate this. Take a little trip. Oh, come on. A real quick message for all my viewers. When you're messing with Redstone, building Redstone contraptions, you're going to make mistakes. It's just inevitable. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Because, like I just did, I made a mistake, and it actually took me a few tries to get it right, because I made a few more mistakes. When you're messing with Redstone, you're going to make mistakes, and you're just going to have to deal with it. But sometimes when you make a mistake, you can learn from it, and it actually can improve your Redstone some. Because you might ask questions and find answers somewhere on the web. So, when you make mistakes, instead of getting angry at yourself or at Minecraft, just think, what did I learn from this? And you will become a great Redstoner, and along with other things in life. Alright, now back to Redstone. Alright, after a few configurations later, it's now working. Like I said before, flying machines are finicky, so you're gonna run into a lot of mistakes, like I did just there. So, now let's ride it. There we go. Alright, now I gotta hop in. There we go. So, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I mean, I sure did. I mean, look at me. I'm flying in a plane. So, you can go into your world, impress your friends, build these things, and they're honestly pretty fun. I mean, I'm flying in a plane right now, like I said. They're fun. So, like I said, hope you enjoyed. Comment if you have any questions, and class is dismissed. And it looks like I'm going to fly away from this school. I think I forgot to program an off button to this thing.